Hello everyone and welcome back to Mariana Math Books. My name is Mariana and today we are doing day 5 of this year's TAGMAS. At this moment I am home alone and I am guessing you will all agree with me that this is the best time to film videos. So let's see how many videos I can get done, even though I absolutely hate the lighting at this time for filming. But let's just forget about trivial things like that and let's get on with the video. Today I am going to be answering the comfort reading tag, which was created by the Babbling Bee. This time I am correct, it's the Babbling Bee, and I was tagged to do it by Nikki at red.reads. I have to confess to you guys, I've been having a hard time with this tag. Mainly because it revolves around this concept of cozy reading, but cozy meaning this, and just conceptually from the standpoint, from the get-go, I have an issue with associating cozy with this. And I know that just because the tag is portrayed this way doesn't mean that I have to associate that, and I should answer the questions just with my own definition of what comfort reading or cozy reading means. But because the descriptions of the questions are so specific, I'm having a hard time answering them or finding answers to them. So I will do what I do best in tags, which is just answer whatever I want. Okay, so let's begin. Question number 1 says, "The kettle is on. A book of steadfast comfort, always there for you, makes any day better, like a cup of tea or your favorite warm drink." Okay, so another thing. I think this tag is mainly geared towards rereaders, people who have books that they go to over and over again or go back to over and over again. And I myself, I'm not a big rereader. 2021 seems to have been the year of rereading for me, but normally I am not a big rereader, so I don't have books that I go back to, which is another reason I had a hard time finding answers for this tag. For me, more than comfort reading, what I do is comfort watching. I'm not a big rereader, but I am a big rewatcher. I rewatch my favorite movies and my favorite shows over and over again to the point where I learn the dialogues by heart. And for me, my ultimate comfort show is Gilmore Girls. Whenever I want to feel better, in this cozy sense of the word, I love watching Gilmore Girls. That is my go-to comfort food. That is not food but media. Gilmore Girls. Question number 2. Grandmother's quilt. And you will see as the tag moves forward, there is a slight obsession with grandmother's quilts. A grandmother's quilt, a book that reminds you of a loved one or a comforting book that was given to you or read aloud to you by someone dear. I have mentioned before that I come from a family of academics. My parents are academics, my uncles are academics, my grandparents are academics. So we are more of an intellectual type family than an emotional type family. So I had a especially hard time with this question because I don't have a comfort book that a loved one read to me aloud. I remember, since I was little, I remember watching my parents read, and that is why I always wanted to be a reader, because I watched my parents reading. But I don't remember my parents reading to me. Rather, I remember them reading in their corner of the house and me reading in my corner of the house. And I don't mean that in a bad way. That's how we connect. That's how we bond. Okay, people who have families like mine will understand. But so I don't have that book, but I do have a book that makes me think of my grandmother, not because she read it to me, but because ever since I was around 15 years old, she has been pushing this book to me because she wants me to read it. It was her favorite book when she was young, and ever since I was 15, she has been trying so hard for me to read it, and I think she has finally been successful. I finally agreed to read it. It is currently sitting in my bookshelf, and I am planning on reading it in January. And this book is El corazón de piedra verde by Salvador de Madariaga. The title in English is The Heart of Jade, and it is a book written in 1942. Wait for it. It is a romance between a Spanish conquistador and a indigenous woman from pre-Hispanic Mexico, written in the 40s by a man. I am concerned about this book. I am concerned. I am not going to lie, but I think I am 32 currently, and my grandma has been telling me to read it since I was 15, so I am going to give in and read it, and let's see how this goes. I will keep you posted. Question number 3. Warm Spices, a book with particularly vivid prose or imagery. A story comforting in its richness, depth, and vibrance. I did find an answer for this, and you are not going to believe this when I tell you The Lord of the Rings. Yes, I think Tolkien is the master of imagery. There is no one that surpasses Tolkien in this. To give another answer, I am going to say The Binding by Bridget Collins. I think that's the most richly atmospheric book I read this year, and it's one of my favorite books from this year. Absolutely. Definitely recommend you to read it. If you can do the other book, excellent narrator. Question number 4, Candlelight, a book that keeps you going or encourages you when things feel dark. I would say any romance book. Romance is my go-to genre for a feel-good genre. Question number 5, Laugh Medicine, a book that makes you laugh out loud or grin widely, coming to the rescue on the gloomiest days. And again, any romance book. Obviously, not all romance books are funny, but I think most of the romances that I read are funny. I tend to choose either like it could be like a contemporary rom-com like The Love Hypothesis, or something like the Psy-Changeling series by Nalini Singh, or the Ice Planet Barbarian series by Ruby Dixon. I don't know if it would be cataloged as a rom-com, but they are very funny, books with tons of banter, that type of thing. I really love. Question number 6, in bed all day. You've got your warm drink, a cozy blanket, maybe grandmother's quilt. I tell you, there is an obsession with grandmother's quilts in this tag. You have your warm drink, a cozy blanket. What do you read when you are curled up in bed all day? And for this one, I would say either a big, chunky, dense non-fiction, or a big, chunky fantasy. So a chunky book. Depending on my mood, it would be a big chunky non-fiction or a big chunky fantasy. Question number 7, Endless Comfort, a book that brings you solace no matter how many times you reread it. And again, I'm not a big rereader, and I don't have a lot of comfort books that I come back to. I have more comfort movies or TV shows. I already answered the TV show in the first question, so I'm going to say for movies, you can watch my answer for my favorite things tag, where I gave you my top 3 all-time comfort movies. Question number 8, Portable Hope. A book that restores your faith in humanity, faith in life, faith in yourself. A book that says it's going to be okay. The world is full of good things and tomorrow will be better. I think I figured out why I cannot answer this tag, and it is because I am too much of a hater for this tag. I am afraid. I swear I have zero idea what to answer for a book that says it's going to be okay. The world is full of good things and tomorrow will be better. I swear I don't have a book for this. It's funny because what I would think about is fantasy. So not really restoring my faith in humanity because it's not real. But for example, a book that is full of hope, that doesn't restore your faith in humanity as such, but rather it makes you feel that if people were like people in this book, then your faith in humanity would be restored. And that is The Lord of the Rings. I'm sorry. I just reread it. I swear I'm not trying to answer that for every question of every video of every single tag I've done. But I mean, can you blame me? Tolkien was a genius. It's his fault for being such a genius. Anyway, I do truly believe that if our world leaders were like Aragorn, the world would be a better place. I just believe it. Question number 9. A basket for your neighbor. Just as it's lovely to be comforted by books, it can be lovely to pass the comfort along. Imagining you were putting together a cozy comfort basket for your neighbor or friend or loved one, which books would you include? I would need to know who I am making the basket for. I love giving gifts, and for me, a super important part of gift giving is knowing the person. There is nothing I hate more in the world than a generic gift. When people give you something that you can tell that they don't know you and they just gave you something because they felt like they needed to give you something, but that it doesn't have anything to do with you. There's nothing I hate more than that. So I don't like giving generic gifts. I like knowing the person I'm going to be gifting in order to do the gift. So if I were to put up a basket for a hypothetical neighbor or someone I don't know that well, I would not include a book because I don't know them well enough for that. I am so sorry for being such a snob about this question, but yeah. Finally, question number 10. A walk in the woods. Though we'd like to stay curled up indoors with our books forever, we've got to venture into the world again sometime. A walk in the woods always helps me feel refreshed. And this is, in parentheses, it says, unless I happen upon a spider or something, but let's not think about that. That made me laugh because I think that is the one thing I can identify with in this tag. I hate spiders. So tell us about a book with beautiful nature writing or a book that restores your peace. I just did the 1001 books tag and I joked about how I don't understand what an outdoor activity is because I'm such of an indoors person that I don't know why I would willingly choose to be outside. So for me, being in nature wouldn't restore my peace. What would because I would be too afraid to come across a spider. What restores my peace is being indoors with a book or with Netflix So I'm going to give two answers for this. For a book with beautiful nature writing, I am going to say Fathoms by Rebecca Giggs. I 100% recommend this book. And for a book that restores my peace, I would say the Psy-Changeling series by Nalini Singh. Something like that. I had a good laugh with this question because I recently finished watching the second season of The Witcher on Netflix, and I was talking to my mom about this. I was telling her how much of a cozy watch that is for me. If you saw my favorite think tag, you know that I said that The Matrix is one of my comfort movies, and I said I know it's weird, but it is one of my comfort movies. And the same goes for what I was talking to my mom about, because I was telling her I know it's a show about monsters and killing monsters, but it's a comfort watch for me. I love that. Like, if I think of curling up in bed with a cozy blanket, nor a grandmother's quilt, because here in Mexico we don't do quilting, but with a cozy blanket in bed and curled up in the covers, I am either watching something like Gilmore Girls or something like The Witcher. Those are my two comforting moods. So in order to restore my peace, I would need to watch Henry Cavill killing monsters, something like that. But yeah, all jokes aside, yes. So it was a fun tag to answer all in all, just because I don't know, because it gave me an opportunity to showcase how much of a weirdo I really am. I hope you enjoyed the answers. And yeah, again, I'm not tagging anyone for these videos, and this will be it for today's tag. I will see you tomorrow with another tag, and in the meantime, happy reading.